There's one decision that you can make at age 60 that does more for your retirement than any mutual fund or annuity or tax strategy combined. And most people miss it, and it's costing them hundreds of thousands of dollars in retirement security. In today's video, I'm going to reveal exactly what that decision is and why making it at age 60 creates results that no other retirement strategy can match. Over the years, I've worked with hundreds of pre-retirees, and I've seen how this single choice transforms retirement outcomes. It's a powerful inflection point, and it's one that's often overlooked by traditional financial planning. And the decision I'm going to walk you through today may determine whether your savings last through your 90s or run dry when you need them the most. So let's get right into the video. Most people think of retirement planning as something that happens gradually over decades. Save a little, invest a little, repeat. But something shifts at age 60. I always tell people that age 60 is kind of the financial crossroads of retirement. At this point, you're close enough to retirement that your next move is going to directly shape your outcome, but you're also still far enough from Medicare and Social Security benefits that your choices can dramatically change the math. It's one of those moments where a single decision can move the needle more than years of savings ever could. And I'm going to show you that in a little bit with a real world example. But first, let me kind of break this down. So one reason why it's so important, it's the last high income, high contribution window. Most people are going to hit peak earnings in their late 50s and early 60s, and that's why age 60 becomes one of those financial chances to stockpile meaningful savings, especially with catch-up contributions that aren't available earlier in life. And it's with these peak earning years that you can make the critical choice of what is the best path for your savings to go into, which type of investment account. Because ultimately, which bucket you choose at this critical stage can really make a big difference. Now, the second aspect to think through is that you're in the 5-year Medicare gap. If you retire at 60, you're looking at 5 years without Medicare. And that's 5 years of expensive private insurance or COBRA or maybe ACA coverage. And that could end up costing you tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket. And so failing to plan for this gap is one of the top reasons why early retirees burn through savings too fast. Another critical aspect is that Social Security isn't even an option yet. So most people can't claim Social Security until age 62. And so if you stop working at 60, you'll likely be drawing entirely from your savings for at least 2 years and maybe longer if you delay claiming, which in most cases is going to make the most sense. So that makes your portfolio or maybe rental income or something your sole source of income. And that could expose you to withdrawal and sequence of return risk that early in retirement. And my point is that small shifts can produce exponential results at age 60. And so 60 becomes a real inflection point. It's where your retirement path either accelerates or, honestly, starts to deteriorate. And that brings us to the most important question, right? What's the decision you can make at 60 to take full advantage of this moment? And that's what we're going to explore next. And that's the choice to strategically delay full retirement starting at age 60. Now, I want to emphasize that doesn't necessarily mean grinding it out till age 70. It simply means making the conscious choice not to fully exit the workforce the moment you hit 60. Whether that's, continuing to work full-time, or maybe that means downshifting to part-time or taking on lower stress contract work, or just even, working something part-time so you're not drawing from your portfolio. But you are, staying engaged for just a few more years. And that could honestly really transform your retirement plan. And the reason is because this one decision sets off a chain reaction of compounding advantages. These are financial effects that build on each other in ways that no single retirement move could match. And I'm going to show you that here in a second. So I'll call it a triple compounding effect. And the first part of that is the fact that your portfolio is going to keep growing without withdrawals, right? Delaying retirement means that you're not tapping into your investments yet. And that alone gives your portfolio more time to recover from volatility, It's going to benefit from market gains and compound tax deferred growth. And in those extra years, even modest returns can have a huge impact because you're not pulling the money out. I'm always surprised at the impact when I run financial plans on, maybe taking a pension earlier than later and the impact it has on your portfolio as far as you don't have to draw down on those assets. And so a lot of times, kind of surprisingly, I'll find that even if you waited longer to take a higher pension, you were better off taking it earlier because of the compounding effect. And look, this isn't, don't take this as like specific advice. It might not work out for everybody, but I'm often surprised by that. And it's a real impact on your portfolio. So that's compounding effect number one. Number two, you keep contributing when every dollar counts the most. If you're still working and you're still saving and you're in your 60s, you can take advantage of catch-up contributions in your 401ks and IRAs. And it's going to give you a bigger tax break now and a larger nest egg later. And this is especially powerful in your peak earning years because you're often getting the max match from your employer as well. And probably you're increasing your Social Security check, or even if you have a pension available, those years might also go towards your pension earnings formula as well. Number three, and we just talked about this, your Social Security benefit grows dramatically. So every year you delay taking Social Security, it's going to add to your Social Security check. And then once you get past full retirement age, it adds another 8% per year to your monthly benefit that's guaranteed. It's inflation adjusted income for life. And this creates a stronger income floor for the decades ahead. And really, for many people, it's one of the most valuable retirement levers that they have. But when you add it all up, the key here is these three forces don't just work in isolation, right? They actually reinforce each other, okay? Because the longer you delay withdrawals, the more your portfolio grows. The more you contribute, the stronger your financial position becomes. And then the longer you delay Social Security, the less pressure you put on your investments. And that's why when you add it all up, the results actually become exponential. I'm going to show you an example right now. So this is from a real world client for a financial plan that I finished about a month ago. And so if you look on the right-hand side and look, this person is, relatively wealthy. The baseline situation would be, okay, if you retire at age 63, your ending asset value would be about $10.2 million, 95% probability of success. And don't get way too hung up on the Monte Carlo and all that. But yes, this person is already in a very strong position if they wait till 63. Now, if you look on the left-hand side, you change just one variable. What if instead of waiting till 63, you retired now? And look, the probability of success drops to 90%, and you lop off $2 million over the course of your lifetime. And guys, look, $2 million really adds up to a lot of purchasing power over one's lifetime. So literally, that's the difference of being able to take thousands of extra dollars in, spending every year if she just delays by a few years. So, that's the real impact. And all I did just change that one variable. But like I said, you've got those three things adding up: less pressure on your portfolio, more time to compound, and so on. And that's how you get a $2 million difference and a huge, jump in the probability of success. 5%, that's meaningful just by waiting. So now that you understand the extraordinary impact of this age 60 decision, fill out the questionnaire in the description, and I'll send you a personalized video showing exactly how this strategy could transform your specific retirement timeline and security. And now back to our video. Now that you've seen how powerful this triple compounding effect can be, let's walk through exactly how to implement it step by step in your own life. So let's say you're 60 or you're close to it and you're starting to see just how impactful this decision point really is. How do you actually implement the strategy in a way that works for you? Because, while the concept is simple, strategically delaying full retirement, the best way to do it actually is going to vary from person to person. And so that's why I think it's important that you use a framework that's going to adjust to your specific situation. So step one, determine your optimal timeline. Yeah, I mean, the first step is just understanding how much impact a delay really makes in your specific case. And I'm going to say it's not guesswork. What I would do is run scenario comparisons using a detailed retirement projection tool. And ideally, what you're going to look at is how long your savings last in each scenario, when Social Security starts and how it affects your cash flow, your tax impacts of withdrawals or Roth conversions, and then actually the break-even point for delaying benefits. And like I just showed you, I mean, you'd be surprised how often just 2 to 3 extra years can add like 5 to 10 years of retirement security. But you're not going to know unless you see the side-by-side numbers. So that's the first step. Step number 2, customize to your circumstances. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not a one-size-fits-all strategy. And to make it work, you're going to have to adapt it to your lifestyle, to your health, and your income needs. And so there's a few variables you want to consider here. Number 1, health. If you're in poor health, delaying Social Security might not make sense despite what you hear, because you don't want, to just completely lose that benefit. But if you're in good shape, maximizing those benefits could really pay off for decades. So that's the first thing you're going to have to think through. Number 2, career satisfaction. It's easy for me to sit up here and tell you to delay work, and I can show you an elegant mathematical solution, but if you hate your job, listen, that changes things, right? But it might not mean quitting entirely. There's other things that you can do, and we kind of talked about those, right? So you're going to have to think about what's your degree of career satisfaction and then build part of your plan around that. Second, consider spousal dynamics. So if you're married, you need to coordinate timelines, and that can make a really big difference. And sometimes, it makes sense for one spouse to delay Social Security while the other one claims early, especially if one has a much larger benefit than the other. So that's something else you're going to have to run in these customized circumstances. And then last thing to think about, your financial starting position. So if you already have a large portfolio and low expenses, I mean, look, your urgency is lower, right? But even then, delaying can still unlock meaningful benefits, especially on the tax planning side. But even beyond the tax planning side, I mean, there's lots to consider if you're already in a strong financial position. That person obviously was in great shape, and it's not going to matter if she retired at 60 or not. But that $2 million extra really informs her decision, because she cares about a legacy for her son, and she cares about doing things like spending money on big trips now with her and her family, and education planning. And so even though either way she's in a good position, she could do a lot more with that extra money, and so it still matters at the end. Now, if we move on to step number 3, that's pick the right strategy. So I think the common misconception is that there are only 2 choices. It's either keep working full-time or fully retire. But honestly, that's not the truth at all, right? Maybe there's a middle path here, and that could be the most effective for you. So this comes in, like I said, if you really do hate your job, maybe what you could do is just move from 5 days a week to 3. Or, some people, they're able to take a consulting gig. Some people are able to switch to a lower stress role that still has health benefits. All right, then once you consider, whether you'd be better off working part-time, full-time, or quitting, then you want to do a phased implementation, right? So instead of making just one massive change, I would suggest scaling back in stages if you can, right? Maybe reduce your hours at age 61, delay Social Security to age 67, not blanket advice, just giving you an example, and then you stop working altogether at 68. And, maybe that kind of structure can honestly be surprisingly powerful. And then finally, I'm going to say, consider bridge planning. A huge concern for most people that retire before Medicare is bridging that gap for health insurance. And you need to specifically plan for that. And, a lot of that is starting early with health savings accounts, but also I would suggest talking to a healthcare consultant. You might have to pay, $250 or $500 to talk to somebody to help map out and bridge that gap. At my firm, we actually, we pay for consultants for our clients, but that's something that you could do on your own as well. But, knowing how much you're going to spend on healthcare while you're bridging that gap between Medicare is very important. It could save you thousands of dollars. And, ultimately that could, add a year or two to how long your funds last in retirement. All right. So the bottom line is that the decision to delay retirement is powerful, but only if it fits your life. I mean, look, you don't have to work another 10 years. You just need a plan that reduces pressure on your portfolio. It's going to build flexibility into your income, and then it's going to coordinate your benefits smartly. And then finally, I think I would say it gives you peace of mind through that transition. And, that's what this framework is designed to do. Give you clarity and flexibility and control at the most pivotal point in your retirement journey. And if you want help seeing exactly how this could work for you, just fill out the quick questionnaire in the description and I'll personally review it and send you a custom video showing you how to apply this strategy to your own situation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.